Jinwoo checked his reflection in the mirror one last time. His formal black suit felt too tight around the neck, but it would have to do. Today was no ordinary day. Today, he would meet aliens. This is crazy, he muttered to himself. 6 months ago, the massive ship had appeared in Earth's orbit. 3 months ago, world leaders had established first contact. And now, somehow, Jinwoo was chosen to join Earth's delegation to the Galactic Union. A soft hiss from the glass tank in the corner of his apartment caught his attention. Midnight, his black mamba, was watching him with what Jinwoo liked to think was curiosity. "I'll be back soon, buddy," Jinwoo said, tapping the glass gently. "Don't give the pet sitter any trouble." As one of Korea's top experts on venomous snakes, Jinwoo had been selected to represent Earth's biological diversity. He didn't fully understand why they wanted a snake expert, but he wasn't going to question the opportunity of a lifetime. The ride to the temporary alien embassy was quiet. Jinwoo scrolled through his presentation on his tablet. Pictures of various snakes, spiders, and other venomous creatures from Earth filled the screen. He had included a few personal photos with Midnight too, thinking the aliens might be interested in how humans interact with these animals. The embassy was actually a section of their spaceship that had been extended down to Earth's surface. As Jinwoo entered, the air felt different, slightly cooler and with a sweet smell he couldn't identify. Dr. Park Jinwoo. A tall woman with a clipboard approached him. "I'm Lisa, your human liaison. I'll be guiding you today." "Yes, that's me." Jinwoo nodded, trying to hide his nervousness. "You're the last to arrive. The cultural exchange presentation begins in 20 minutes. You're in the third group of presenters." Lisa led him through corridors where humans and aliens walked side by side. Jinwoo tried not to stare, but it was difficult. The aliens came in all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, while others resembled nothing he had ever seen before. In the presentation room, about 50 representatives from Earth sat on one side, with twice as many aliens on the other. A raised platform in the center served as the stage. Jinwoo took his seat and watched as the first presenters discussed Earth's climate diversity. The aliens seemed politely interested, asking occasional questions through their translation devices. The second group talked about human art and music. This got a better reaction, with many aliens making notes or what Jinwoo assumed were the alien equivalent of appreciative nods. Then it was his turn. Representing Earth's biological diversity, specifically focusing on venomous creatures, Dr. Park Jinwoo, announced the moderator. Jinwoo walked to the platform, his tablet connecting automatically to the display system. The first slide showed Earth's impressive array of venomous creatures, snakes, spiders, jellyfish, and more. Earth is home to over 700 species of venomous snakes, 2,000 species of venomous fish, and countless venomous insects and arachnids. Jinwoo began, relaxing as he talked about his area of expertise. These animals have developed toxins as defense mechanisms or hunting tools throughout evolution. He clicked to the next slide, showing a man handling a cobra. Humans have learned to study these creatures safely, and some of us even keep them as pets or work with them daily. A murmur ran through the alien side of the room. Jinwoo paused, uncertain if he had said something wrong. "Please continue," the moderator encouraged. Jinwoo nodded and moved to the next slide. A picture of himself with Midnight draped across his shoulders. "This is my own pet, a black mamba named Midnight. He's one of the most venomous snakes on Earth, capable of killing several adult humans with a single bite. I've kept him for 5 years now." The reaction was instant and overwhelming. Several aliens stood up abruptly. Others made high-pitched sounds that the translation system couldn't process. 3 representatives near the front activated personal shields, bubble-like fields that suddenly surrounded them. "Security alert in Presentation Hall 3. Someone shouted into a communication device. Jinwoo stood frozen on the platform, completely confused. I don't understand. What's happening?" A tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms approached the stage, flanked by security personnel. Unlike the others, she seemed calm, though her large eyes were fixed on the image of Jinwoo and his snake. "Dr. Park," she spoke through a personal translator. "I am Nare, security chief of the Galactic Union delegation. Please confirm that creature in the image is alive, venomous, and you voluntarily maintain physical contact with it." "Yes," Jinwoo replied, still bewildered. "He's my pet. Many humans keep snakes as pets, including venomous ones, if they have proper training and permits." This set off another round of commotion. Nare raised all 4 of her hands, calling for silence. "Dr. Park, I believe we have encountered a significant cultural difference," she said. "In the known galaxy, no sentient species voluntarily associates with venomous creatures. They are universally considered extreme dangers to be eliminated or avoided at all costs." Jinwoo blinked in surprise. "Really? None? But venomous animals are important parts of Earth's ecosystems, and their venoms have many scientific and medical applications." The human delegation leader, a woman named Dr. Rodriguez, joined them on the platform. "Perhaps we should take a brief recess to discuss this cultural difference," she suggested. Nare agreed, and the presentation was paused. Jinwoo was led to a small meeting room where Nare, Dr. Rodriguez, and several other key representatives gathered. "I apologize for causing a disturbance," Jinwoo said once they were seated. "I had no idea this would be shocking." Nare's expression was hard to read, but her voice carried what seemed like a mixture of fear and fascination. "Dr. Park, on my homeworld, a creature with venom, like your black mamba, would cause the evacuation of an entire city. We would call in specialized drone units to eliminate it from a safe distance." "It's the same across the Union," added another alien. "This one small and covered in what looked like green fur. Venomous creatures are apex threats. No one approaches them, much less touches them." "But why did you adopt a Korean name?" Jinwoo asked Nare, curious despite the tense situation. "All Union representatives adopted names from their assigned region to ease communication," she explained. "I was assigned to the Korean delegation." Dr. Rodriguez cleared her throat. "It seems we've discovered something uniquely human. On Earth, while we respect the danger venomous creatures pose, many humans study them, work with them, and yes, even keep them as pets." "What? Why?" asked Nare, genuinely puzzled. Jinwoo thought for a moment. "I suppose it's part of our nature to try to understand things that frighten us. And once we understand them, fear often turns to respect or even affection. You feel affection for animals that can kill you." The green-furred alien seemed unable to grasp the concept. "Yes," Jinwoo smiled. "Midnight is beautiful, fascinating, and complex. His venom is dangerous, yes, but he's not malicious. He's just an animal following his instincts." The aliens exchanged glances that seemed to convey deep confusion. "Would it help if I explain more about how humans safely handle venomous creatures?" Jinwoo offered. After some discussion, it was decided that Jinwoo would give a modified presentation focused on explaining humanity's relationship with venomous animals, but with plenty of warnings before showing any images. When the session resumed, Jinwoo noticed the room was even more crowded. Word had spread about the strange humans who kept deadly creatures as pets, and many more aliens had come to witness this bizarre phenomenon. In conclusion, Jinwoo said at the end of his revised presentation, "Venom research has led to many important medicines on Earth. Compounds derived from snake venom are used to treat heart disease, pain, and blood disorders. What we once feared, we learned to respect and use for our benefit." The room was silent when he finished. Then Nare stood up. "Dr. Park has revealed something truly unique about humans today," she announced. "In all our explorations of the galaxy, we have never encountered a species that coexists with venomous creatures as humans do. This requires further scientific investigation." As Jinwoo left the stage, he was surrounded by curious aliens asking questions through their translators. How did he avoid being bitten? What happened if he was bitten? Did all humans have this strange affinity for dangerous creatures? Jinwoo answered patiently, realizing that his ordinary hobby had just become extraordinary in the context of the galaxy. As he caught Dr. Rodriguez's eye across the room, she gave him a thumbs up. Humanity's first impression on the galactic stage would not be about their technology, art, or culture as everyone had expected. Instead, it would be about their unusual relationship with the venomous creatures of Earth, a relationship that apparently made humans unique among the stars. 2 weeks after the cultural exchange event, Jinwoo's phone rang while he was feeding Midnight. The snake was swallowing a small rat whole, a process that never failed to fascinate him. Dr. Park speaking. Jinwoo answered, watching Midnight's jaw unhinge to accommodate the meal. Dr. Park, this is Dr. Rodriguez from the Earth Diplomatic Office. The Galactic Union has made an official request. They want to send a scientific team to study humanity's relationship with venomous creatures. Jinwoo sat up straighter. Really? That's unexpected. You've become something of a celebrity among the aliens, Dr. Rodriguez said with a chuckle. They're calling you the Venom Handler. They want you to be the main host for their research team. The next day, Jinwoo met with Dr. Rodriguez at her office in Seoul. She handed him a tablet with information about the alien research team. They're sending Dr. Dujun, one of their leading xenobiologists, she explained. He's studied the biology of over 50 different planets. He's bringing 3 assistants and specialized equipment. Dujun. That doesn't sound like an alien name, Jinwoo noted. Like Nare, all the visiting scientists have adopted Korean names for this mission. They find it helps with communication. Dr. Rodriguez replied. They arrive tomorrow. We've arranged for them to visit your research lab first, then several other facilities around the world. Jinwoo nodded, scanning the information. I should call Hyasu. Her spider sanctuary would be perfect for them to visit. Hyasu was an old friend from university who now ran a research center and sanctuary for venomous spiders. She had over 200 species, including some of the most dangerous in the world. The next morning, Jinwoo waited at the designated landing area outside Seoul. A small shuttlecraft descended from the sky, landing softly on the pad. The door opened, and 4 aliens emerged. Dr. Dujun was tall and thin with gray skin that seemed to shimmer slightly in the sunlight. He had 4 eyes, 2 large ones in the normal position and 2 smaller ones above them. His arms were long, ending in 6-fingered hands. Dr. Park Jinwoo, Dujun said through a translator device attached to his neck. It is an honor to meet the famous Venom Handler. Jinwoo bowed slightly. The honor is mine, Dr. Dujun. Welcome to Earth. The other 3 aliens introduced themselves as Minho, Shunho, and Seojin. They all looked similar to Dujun, but with subtle differences in height and skin tone. We have prepared a comprehensive research plan, Dujun explained as they drove to Jinwoo's lab. First, we wish to understand how humans physically interact with venomous creatures without dying. Jinwoo smiled. Well, sometimes we do die. Venomous creatures are still dangerous to us. We just have methods to minimize the risks. This statement seemed to shock the aliens. Minho's 4 eyes all blinked rapidly. You acknowledge the danger yet still keep these creatures near you. Fascinating, Dujun noted, typing something into a device strapped to his arm. At the lab, Jinwoo showed them his research facility. 20 different species of venomous snakes lived in secure enclosures along the walls. In the center of the room, several researchers were working with snake venom samples. Here we extract venom from the snakes to study its properties, Jinwoo explained, leading them to a demonstration area. Would you like to see an extraction? The aliens moved back several steps, but nodded with what seemed like nervous curiosity. Jinwoo's assistant brought out a king cobra in a special container. Carefully, Jinwoo used a hook to guide the snake onto the table, then gently but firmly grasped it behind the head with specialized tongs. This is one of the most venomous snakes in the world, Jinwoo explained, as he positioned a glass vial covered with a thin membrane in front of the cobra. One bite contains enough neurotoxin to kill 20 humans. The cobra struck at the membrane, and its fangs released yellowish venom into the vial. The aliens watched in absolute silence, their bodies completely still. After securing the snake back in its container, Jinwoo held up the vial. This venom will be used for research and to create antivenom, medicine that can save people if they're bitten. Dujun approached slowly, studying the vial. May we take some readings? Of course. The alien scientists used various devices to scan the venom. They spoke quickly to each other in their own language, which the translators didn't convert. Dr. Park, Dujun finally said, we would like to take some biological samples from you and other humans who work with venomous creatures. Blood, tissue, perhaps a genetic scan. Would this be possible? Jinwoo was surprised by the request but agreed. I don't see why not. What are you looking for? A theory is forming, Dujun replied cryptically. But I need more data. The next day, they visited Haisu's spider sanctuary. The building was specially designed with multiple security systems to prevent escapes. Inside, clear containers lined the walls, each housing different species of spiders. Welcome. Haisu greeted them cheerfully. She was shorter than Jinwoo, with round glasses and hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. I've prepared a special tour for you. The aliens seemed even more nervous around the spiders than they had been with the snakes. Shuno actually activated his personal shield when Haisu brought out a Brazilian wandering spider. This is one of the most venomous spiders in the world, Haisu explained, seemingly unworried, as the spider moved across a special handling surface. Its bite can cause painful death in humans, but it's also an important research subject. You study its venom too? Asked Seojin. Yes. Spider venoms have compounds that may help treat strokes, pain, and even some forms of cancer, Haisu said. Let me show you our medical research lab. In another room, scientists were analyzing venom compounds and testing potential medicines. This medicine, Haisu said, holding up a small vial of clear liquid, was developed from copperhead snake venom. It helps prevent blood clots in heart patients. It saves thousands of lives every year. Dujun turned to Jinwoo. Your species turns weapons into medicine. This is unexpected. Over the next week, the alien team collected samples from 20 different humans who worked with venomous creatures. They visited research centers, zoos, and even met with indigenous experts who had traditional knowledge of venomous animals. On the final day of their initial research, they gathered in a conference room at Jinwoo's lab. Dujun displayed holographic data in the center of the table. We have made a significant discovery, he announced. Humans possess a natural cellular resistance to many toxins that would immediately kill other sentient species we have studied. Jinwoo leaned forward. What do you mean? Your cellular structures have unique protective mechanisms, Dujun explained. A toxin dose that would kill any other known intelligent species might only make a human sick, and your medical treatments for venomous bites are remarkably advanced. That's because we've had to deal with these creatures throughout our evolution, Haisu pointed out. We either learned to treat venomous injuries or we died. Exactly, Dujun said. No other species in the Galactic Union evolved alongside so many venomous creatures. On most planets, venomous species are rare. On Earth, they are abundant. Minho pulled up another holographic display. We have a theory about why Earth has so many venomous creatures while other planets have few or none. But we need more research. What's the theory? Jinwoo asked. Dujun's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. It is too early to say. But we believe Earth may be special in ways we never imagined. As they prepared to return to their ship, Dujun turned to Jinwoo and Haisu. The Galactic Union wishes to establish a permanent research exchange. Would you both be willing to serve as Earth's representatives? Jinwoo and Haisu exchanged surprised glances. What would that involve? Haisu asked. Sharing knowledge about venomous creatures, perhaps visiting other worlds to help with situations that might arise. Dujun explained. Your expertise is unique in the galaxy. Other worlds have venomous creatures too, Jinwu asked. Not many, Dujun admitted. But when they are discovered, no one knows how to handle them. No one except humans. As the alien shuttle lifted off, Jinwu stood beside Hyasu, watching it disappear into the sky. So, Hyasu said with a small smile, it seems our career choices just got a lot more interesting. Jinwu nodded. Who would have thought that keeping venomous pets would make humans special in the galaxy? Back at his apartment that evening, Jinwu watched Midnight coiled peacefully in his enclosure. The snake that had caused such a stir among the aliens now seemed even more significant. You and your kind have shaped humanity in ways we never realized, Jinwu said quietly to the snake. And now you're helping us find our place among the stars. 6 months passed quickly. Jinwu and Haisu had spent this time learning about the Galactic Union and training for potential off-world missions. They had also selected and trained a small team of experts in venomous creatures. Taehyun was a veteran snake wrangler from Busan who could catch any serpent with just a stick and his bare hands. Ja was a brilliant toxicologist who had developed several new antivenoms. Both had jumped at the chance to join the team. They were in the middle of a training session when the emergency call came through. Dr. Park, the voice of Nare, the blue-skinned security chief, sounded urgent even through the translator. We need your team immediately. There's a situation on Lunar Research Station 7. What kind of situation? Jinwu asked, signaling the others to gather around. A research vessel discovered an unknown species on the moon of Tulax 6. They'd brought samples back for study. The creatures have escaped. They appear to be venomous, highly aggressive, and our containment measures are failing. We've already lost 3 researchers. Jinwu felt his heart race. This was not a drill or training exercise. This was real, and lives were at stake. How soon can you transport us? He asked. A ship is already on its way to your location. Be ready in 1 hour. The team quickly gathered their specialized equipment: protective suits, capture tools, portable containment units, and most importantly, a wide range of antivenoms and medical supplies. We don't know what we're dealing with, Jinwu reminded everyone as they packed. These are alien venomous creatures. Our Earth antivenoms might not work, but they're the best starting point we have. Hyasu nodded, carefully checking her tablet. I've downloaded all the information they sent about the creatures. They seem to resemble Earth's box jellyfish, but much larger. Their tentacles contain powerful neurotoxins. Space jellyfish, Taehyun said with a slight smile. Never thought I'd deal with those. The Galactic Union transport ship landed exactly 1 hour later. It was sleek and fast, designed for emergency response. The interior was adapted for human comfort, with seats that fit their body shape and atmospheric conditions matching Earth's. As they boarded, they were greeted by Nare. Thank you for coming, she said, her 4 arms performing a formal greeting gesture. The situation has worsened. The creatures are nearly invisible to our detection systems due to their translucent bodies. 7 more personnel have been stung, 2 critically. How long until we reach the station? Jia asked, already unpacking her portable lab equipment. 3 hours at maximum speed, Nure replied. I'll brief you on the way. As the ship accelerated into space, Jinwu felt a mix of excitement and fear. He had never left Earth before, and now he was heading to an alien moon to catch deadly space jellyfish. Life had certainly become interesting. During the journey, Nure showed them holographic images of the creatures. They did look like jellyfish, translucent bell-shaped bodies with long, flowing tentacles, but they were the size of large dogs, and their tentacles glowed with an eerie blue light. They can move through the air in low-gravity environments, Nure explained, and their tentacles can extend up to 3 meters when hunting. The toxin causes rapid paralysis followed by respiratory failure. Do you have samples of the toxin? Jia asked. Nare nodded and handed her a sealed container. Our medical team extracted this from one of the victims. They've tried every treatment in our database without success. Jia immediately began analyzing the sample, using her equipment to break down its components. The structure is similar to some earth jellyfish toxins, she said after several minutes. I might be able to modify our box jellyfish antivenom to work against it. The research station orbited a small rocky moon. As they docked, they could see the station was partially in lockdown. Emergency lights flashed in several sections. The creatures are concentrated in the main research lab and 2 adjacent corridors. Neray informed them as they suited up. We've evacuated all personnel we could reach. 3 researchers are trapped in a sealed office within the contaminated area. Jinwoo checked everyone's protective gear one last time. Their suits were designed to resist punctures and covered every inch of skin. They had practiced in them extensively. Remember, we capture if possible, neutralize only if necessary, he reminded the team. These are unknown species that deserve study. The station's interior was sterile and white, with smooth walls and bright lighting. As they entered the contaminated section, they switched to their specialized vision enhancement goggles. I see one, Taehyun whispered, pointing to a corner of the ceiling. Through the goggles, the creature was visible as a faint blue outline. It floated gently in the air, its tentacles swaying slightly as if in a breeze. It's beautiful, Haisu said softly. And deadly, added Jinwoo. Taehyun, you're up. Taehyun moved forward slowly, extending a specialized capture pole. The end split open into a gentle net-like structure. With practiced skill, he maneuvered it around the creature's bell-shaped body, avoiding the tentacles. Got it, he said, carefully transferring the creature to a containment unit that Haisu held open. One down, about 30 to go, Nare said from the doorway, where she monitored their progress. They moved methodically through the lab, capturing one creature after another. Their Earth-developed techniques for handling dangerous marine animals worked well, though they had to adjust for the creature's ability to move through air. In the second corridor, they found a larger specimen floating near the ceiling. As Taehyun attempted to capture it, the creature suddenly pulsed, sending its tentacles flying outward in all directions. Watch out, Jinwoo shouted. One tentacle slashed across Naray's arm, where she stood observing from what she thought was a safe distance. The thin fabric of her uniform tore, and the tentacle made contact with her blue skin. Naray gasped and staggered backward. Within seconds, she began to shake violently. She's been stung. Joe rushed to Naray's side, supporting her as she collapsed. Get that thing contained. I need to treat her now. While Taehyun and Haisu secured the large jellyfish, Jia and Jinwoo carried Naray to a clear area. Jia quickly injected her with the modified antivenom she had prepared during the journey. Stay with us, Naray, Jinwoo said, monitoring her vital signs on his portable scanner. The medicine will help. Naray's breathing was shallow, her 4 eyes closing. Never thought I would touch venomous creature, she managed to say before losing consciousness. The antivenom needs time to work, Jia said. We should move her to the ship's medical bay. You take her, Jinwoo decided. The rest of us will finish here and rescue the trapped researchers. With Naray safely in Jia's care, the remaining team members continued their mission. They captured all the jellyfish creatures they could find and safely extracted the trapped researchers, who were weak from hunger but otherwise unharmed. Back on the ship, they found Jia watching over Naray. The alien security chief was awake but weak. The antivenom worked, Jia said with a tired smile. I had to adjust the formula twice, but her body is finally neutralizing the toxin. You saved my life, Naray said, her voice barely above a whisper. No one in the galaxy has ever survived contact with these creatures before. That's what we do, Jinwoo said simply. We find ways to live alongside venomous creatures, or at least survive encounters with them. As they prepared for the return journey, with the captured jellyfish safely contained in the ship's hold, Taehyun approached Jinwoo with a concerned expression. "I've been counting," he said. "We captured 32 specimens, but the station log says they only brought 25 aboard for study." Jinwoo frowned. "Are you sure?" "Positive. And some of the ones we caught were clearly juveniles, too small to be part of the original sample." Hyasu joined them, her eyes wide. "Do you know what this means? They're breeding. And rapidly." The implication was clear. If these deadly creatures had escaped on the moon's surface, or worse, reached a populated planet, we need to tell Dujun, Jinwoo decided. This might be bigger than just a station outbreak. We need to find where these creatures came from and understand how they breed. As Earth shrank in the viewport behind them, Jinwoo realized their small team of venom handlers had just become vital to the entire galaxy's safety. Somehow, keeping venomous pets had prepared humanity for a role no one could have predicted, as the galaxy's only hope against a deadly venomous invasion. 1 year after the jellyfish incident, Earth had changed significantly. A new building stood tall in Seoul, the Galactic Venom Research Institute. Its shining glass walls reflected the sunlight, and its laboratories contained the most advanced technology from across the galaxy. Jinwoo walked through the main entrance, nodding to the mix of human and alien staff. As the Institute's director, he had overseen its creation from the ground up. "Good morning, Dr. Park," said the receptionist. "Dr. Dujun has arrived with the visiting delegation. They're waiting in the main conference room." "Thank you," Jinwoo replied, straightening his formal jacket. In the past year, Jinwoo's team had handled 12 more venomous creature incidents across the galaxy. Each successful mission had increased Earth's reputation as home to the toxin tamers, as aliens now called humans with this specialty. The conference room was filled with important visitors. Dujun stood at the front, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he noticed Jinwoo's arrival. "Ah, our esteemed director joins us," Dujun announced. "Dr. Park, may I present the High Council representatives? They've come to see your work firsthand." The alien dignitaries were diverse in appearance. Some had multiple limbs, others had scales or feathers. All watched Jinwoo with what he had learned to recognize as respectful curiosity. "Welcome to Earth," Jinwoo said with a small bow. "We're honored by your visit." "The honor is ours," replied a tall, elegant alien with silvery skin. "Your species has provided an invaluable service to the galaxy. The venom response teams have saved countless lives." Jinwoo smiled, thinking of how far they had come. After the space jellyfish incident, the Galactic Union had quickly established a new division, the Venom Response Teams, composed primarily of humans trained to handle dangerous venomous creatures. "Hyasu will be joining us shortly to explain our research division," Jinwoo told the visitors. "But first, I believe Nere has an update on the Talax-6 situation." Nere stepped forward. The blue-skinned security chief had made a full recovery from her jellyfish sting and had become Earth's strongest advocate in the Galactic Union. "The moon has been fully contained," she reported. "We've established a research outpost to study the jellyfish in their natural habitat. With proper safety measures, of course." "Speaking of research," Hyasu said, entering the room with a tablet in hand, "we've made a breakthrough in understanding why these creatures exist on Talax-6 and nowhere else in that system." She pulled up a holographic display showing the genetic structure of the space jellyfish. Their DNA, or equivalent, contains markers that match several other venomous species from across the galaxy. They're not natural to that moon. They were placed there. A murmur ran through the alien delegation. "Placed? By whom?" asked the silver-skinned dignitary. "That's what we're still investigating," Haisu explained. "But this pattern isn't unique. We found similar genetic markers in venomous creatures from 6 different worlds." Dujun stepped forward. "This brings us to our main research finding. High Council members, we believe we have discovered why Earth has so many venomous creatures, while other planets have few or none." The room went silent as Dujun activated a larger holographic display showing a map of the galaxy. Several worlds lit up, including Earth. These planets all share a common factor. They were visited by the same ancient spacefaring civilization, approximately 65 million years ago. Jinwoo felt a chill run down his spine. This was the theory Du Jun had hinted at months ago, but had been carefully researching before making it public. We believe this ancient species used venomous creatures as biological weapons, Du Jun continued. They seeded certain worlds with these weapons, perhaps as experiments or as preparation for colonization. And Earth was one of those worlds. Jinwoo asked, though he already suspected the answer. Earth appears to have been their primary testing ground, Du Jun confirmed. The diversity and concentration of venomous species on your planet is far greater than any other world we've studied. The silver-skinned dignitary leaned forward. What happened to this ancient civilization? They vanished, Du Jun replied. Our archaeological records show they disappeared around the same time they were conducting these experiments. Perhaps they fell victim to their own weapons. Haisu tapped her tablet, changing the display. The most interesting part is what happened next. On other seeded worlds, the venomous creatures remained isolated in small regions or eventually died out. But on Earth, we evolved alongside them. Jinwoo finished. Humans had to adapt to a world filled with venomous creatures. We learned to avoid them, then to study them, then to use their venoms for medicine. And finally, to keep them as pets, Nere said with what passed for a smile on her alien face. The weapons became your companions. After the high-level meeting, Jinwoo took the delegation on a tour of the institute. They visited the research labs where scientists studied venoms from across the galaxy, and the medical center where new treatments were developed. The tour ended at a special demonstration area where Taehyun was teaching a class of mixed human and alien students how to safely handle venomous creatures. Today we're working with non-lethal species, Taehyun explained to the visitors. The students must complete 6 months of training before handling anything truly dangerous. In the center of the room, Jia was demonstrating the creation of antivenom. Since saving Nere's life, she had become the galaxy's foremost expert on countertoxins. The key is understanding the molecular structure of each venom. She was explaining to her students. Once you understand how it attacks the body, you can develop a counter. As the delegation watched the training session, Nere moved to stand beside Jinwoo. I have something to show you, she said quietly. From a small container on her belt, she carefully lifted what looked like a tiny blue spider. This is a lunari web spinner from my homeworld. They're rare now because we nearly exterminated them out of fear. Jinwoo looked at the small creature with interest. It's beautiful. It's also venomous, Nere said. Not deadly to my kind, but painful. After my experience with the jellyfish, I realized what you humans understood long ago. That fear can be overcome with knowledge. Jinwoo smiled, realizing what Nere was telling him. You're keeping it as a pet. I am the first of my species to do so, she confirmed. My colleagues think I've been too influenced by humans. Perhaps they're right. Later that evening, after the delegation had departed, Jinwoo, Haisu, Taehyun, and Jia gathered in Jinwoo's office to share a meal and reflect. 1 year ago, we were just ordinary researchers and animal handlers, Haisu said, raising a glass. Now we're teaching aliens how to coexist with venomous creatures. And we're married, Taehyun said, taking Jia's hand. Their relationship had blossomed during their missions together. The galaxy is a safer place because of what humans know, Jia added. Who would have thought our strange habit of keeping dangerous pets would save lives across the stars? Jinwoo looked out the window at the night sky, thinking about Du Jun's revelation. It's ironic, isn't it? Venomous creatures were placed on Earth as weapons to hinder life. Instead, they shaped us, made us more resilient, more adaptable. What was meant to destroy us ultimately made us special in the galaxy. At home that night, Jinwoo checked on Midnight, who was now famous throughout the galaxy as the snake that started it all. The black mamba flicked its tongue lazily, comfortable in its spacious enclosure. You know, In a way, we have to thank those ancient aliens, Jinwu told the snake. Their weapons became our pets, our medicine, our unique connection to life's dangers and possibilities. As humanity expanded its role in the Galactic Union, their relationship with venomous creatures became their defining trait, not as fearsome hunters or brilliant scientists, but as the only species brave enough, or perhaps foolish enough, to turn deadly weapons into beloved companions. And somewhere in the vast cosmos, perhaps the ancient civilization that had seeded Earth with venomous creatures was watching, astonished that their weapons had instead become cherished pets, valuable medicines, and ultimately, humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy.